This is an open letter to the Sane Society. I don't think the prosecution of Trump is a good idea. Prosecution, persecution. I, although I don't agree with most of his ideas, but uh, his prosecution is not is not is not sanity, because come on, I mean, certain practices that he has done are basically normal, you know, real estate guy practices in New York. These fuckers are, in lockstep with a lot of, mafia bosses, because that's mafia bosses are the ones who have been and maybe still are controlling the unions. Because in a way, mobs are representatives of the underclass. So what is a union? Union is a collection of the underclass. So there's a natural, relationship always waiting to happen there, because you know the representative of underclass are the mobs. You want to say not real representative? Yeah. I mean, we have all heard the sermon, but truly the underclass, who is also persecuted by the police a lot of time, and you know form their own gangs. I mean, it's not only persecution by other groups and ethnicities and tribes, but also persecution by the police force. So they all form their gangs, and that's what the gangs of New York's were. And they're all from blue collar. So their neighbors become blue collar workers, and some of them become gangster, but they're all used to sit at the same table. So, and they're kind of protection for each other. My point is this, especially because the mob has the brains. Anyway, my point is this. So, more or less, most of people in real estate in that area, New York, New Jersey, from what I've read, most of them have had to, break bread with the gangsters if they wanted to, get their building done. So, salute. So, going after people for things that, although not good, but has been normalized, or it's normal within your societies, but persecuting just one that is doing it, has done it, it's sort of like going after Jeffrey Epstein's list and just going after like 10% of the list. Sort of like, okay, we don't care about the other 90. These 10 are on the list. You know, let's hang them. It, you can do that, but it's when you corner the other side to the point of extinction, then you have war. You have international wars, you have domestic wars. When you try to go for the jugular, go for 100%, you will literally, for the war in Israel is because Israel is trying to squeeze the last 10% out of the bag, you know out of their country. They're trying to squeeze the other remaining, what, 20% of the population that has remained. They're trying to squeeze the last remaining out of the bag as well. So that's where you have war. So the point is this. That's the idea. Let's squeeze them out. Hey, Egypt, you don't want to take him? I was thinking this idea of Arab states having to take in Palestinians, and these white people from Europe, or European white people, or white people in North America, some of them keep repeating that, yeah, yeah, Arab states should take these motherfuckers. They're brown, they should take him because they're both brown. They didn't say the brown part, but this is like you know Nigerian people going to France and telling the French, hey, you Frenchmen, you look like the British. Why don't you go fucking live in Britain? Imagine and Africans coming and trying to squeeze the French out of France, and just by telling them at the end, when there is only like 20% of them remaining, tell the Frenchman that, hey, why don't you go live in the British island? You all look the same, you're all the same color, more or less. That's what it means when you tell the Palestinians they should go to live in Egypt. It, it's not the same. They do, their accent is even different. The way I'm told, I read, I heard, even their accents are different. So it's like, would the French agree to go live in Britain and leave France to Nigerians or to Mongolians? Are French happy to, because their skin color is the same as the British? Would the French, could we ask the French to move to England, kill a bunch of them and then force the rest of them to move to England? Just, Mongolians coming and pushing the French into England. Just because you're both pink skins, why don't you join each other? So my point is this, that I'm not, I've forgotten what I was talking about for a second. Because the thing is so ridiculous with regards to this uh, situation in West Asia. The situation is so ridiculous that every conversation that I have ends up in this point, that it's so ridiculous that it's related to every ridiculous kind of situation. About Trump, here is the thing. For example, he wanted to, I guess he was trying to put up his building Mar-a-Lago for some kind of bond, or put up Mar-a-Lago, or if the question was evaluation of Mar-a-Lago. And Trump, apparently Trump put a very big number on it, and the judge put an $18 million price tag on Mar-a-Lago. And you have to think to yourself, oh, this is absolutely nuts. This is, if everything else that is happening to Trump, the prosecution of the Trump, is of this level, then it's nuts. I think the solution to Trump is adapt his ideas. If you see that his ideas have supporters, many supporters, maybe adapt some of his ideas, and in that way not in that way win over Trump. Adapt some of his ideas. Whatever ideas that Trump has, it's not that what all his ideas are wrong. You're saying, basically trying to push the guy out of the race by saying that no, everything he says is nonsense. Well, if some of it obviously has some kind of resonance with a large section of the society, that I guess those ideas it's not. It wouldn't be bad to be added to whatever you're promising as well, and actually doing, executing, promising and executing as well. You know, the main promise, and I think the most pull Mr. Trump has is over his foreign policy. It's sort of like, we need some funding for ourselves. We have neglected our population for a long time. Maybe we should stop spending over there and put that money. That money is eventually is going to be created and create inflation. So why not at least use that money that is going to create inflation to build our own country, then spend it on destroying some other country? Because that's what's happening. They can't have peace because why? Because their war benefits us. I was reading Mr. Kissinger was saying that no, Machiavelli. No, I don't know Machiavelli. I don't care for Machiavelli. I care for this and this and that. Try to distance himself from Machiavelli as much as possible. An old interview. My point is this: that, for example, what happened is, like, they put an $18 million price tag on Mar-a-Lago. I'm like, this can't be, because it's obvious to anybody that in Mar-a-Lago is not a piece of land and a building. It's a name. It's a landmark. Even if before Trump, a few presidents have visited. I was just watching this video, a short video, in which the guy had bought a picture for $3, or for $1, a picture. He had bought 3 pictures for $3 in some, in some, in some, you know, second-hand store, very old pictures, and he found Billy the Kid in the picture. That suddenly his dollar became $500,000 because Billy the Kid was in the picture, although very minute in the distance, but still. A $1 picture turned into a $500,000 picture because he was able to find and get approval from some people in the field that this actually is Billy the Kid, and they have actually went and found the cabin. That in front of that cabin, it still exists. In front of that cabin, that picture was taken of Billy the Kid and like 6, 7, 10 other people from a distance. From a distance. So my point is this: now that cabin, because it's in the Billy the Kid picture, up to yesterday, probably it was like a $10,000, $20,000 cabin. Now overnight, that's a $2 million cabin. If the picture sells for fucking $500,000, that cabin is at least $2 million. That area, that land that cabin sits on, probably goes for a very large sum, because now no longer is that cabin a cabin, but it's a landmark. And it's a landmark that has come to the hand of a private owner. It had a private owner and suddenly became a landmark. And the private owner can sell it for whatever price somebody's willing to pay for it. And if somebody's willing to pay $500,000 for a picture of a cabin and Billy the Kid, imagine who will pay what's large sum of money. A lot of people will pay a large sum of money for the land that carries the house that Billy the Kid used to stand in front of for a period in his life. So my point is this: Mar-a-Lago has a name. The fucking place has a name. Even $1 million, $10 million homes in a gated community don't have a name. I have a number. This place has a name associated with some presidents before Trump who vacationed there. Trump can name his price, and I'm sure many people will pay that price because it's beside its association with history. It's a as a club. It's a place where you can sit face to face, come face to face with many important people, just by the fact that it's a club in that area, West Palm Beach. Just because of that fact, it actually carries some kind of, you know, income value. I guess, it charges 100,000, 200,000 for membership in Mar-a-Lago. That's actual has some financial, but forget about the landmark value. It has financial benefit, and he can name his price for that as well. He invites, important people or celebrities into his club, and a lot of rich people who are not celebrities but have the money, they spend the money to go and meet these celebrities. They're willing to pay that higher, membership fee. It both has a, action, it is a landmark and has income. Trump may not have been a brilliant businessman, but he understood the value of brand. That's why he puts his name everywhere on his buildings, because that's a brand he has built. His father started to build. So he's just continuing. You just have to keep, try to, you know, at least be good. Good service. He's not a good businessman because he got into businesses that he didn't know anything about. Casinos and airplanes and you know other shit that he got involved in. He's a marketer. He's a brand that he's a guy who understands brands, and he's in real estate. He should have stuck to that. Anyway, at least he has this. He understood the value of branding, and he's got a building on a piece of in a very rich neighborhood in which there is a club, which from time to time celebrities come, and not only this a club, it has some historical significance in which two, three other, four other presidents have used it as their vacation spot, a few times. So it has that sort of history. Mar-a-Lago is never going to be demolished and rebuilt. That value of that piece of property is not in the value of the land. It's in the value of what it is. Even if they have to remodel it, they will never change its configuration because it's in the pictures. So they may gut it out from inside and redo the inside every 20, 30 years, but 10 years. But they will probably never, ever, unless we have a nuclear war, but they will never, ever touch the exterior of Mar-a-Lago or the general design of Mar-a-Lago because of its historical significance. You can't put a value of land plus building on that thing. It doesn't have a number, it has a name. If the rest of the prosecution that Trump is undergoing, I mean, which one of these rich guys has not slept with a hooker? Please raise your hand. I mean, almost 99% have while they were married. I'm sorry. This idea that, and if you were going to go the puritanical way, then what the hell was George Bush, and what was Mr. Mr. Clinton, who couldn't keep his penis in his pants? if you were going to go puritanical way, well, you should have gone the puritanical way. But since none of your recent, you know, chief managers have been anywhere near close to a puritanical person, resembling a puritanical person, then why persecute this one? He slept with a prostitute who had a, uh, uh, he just, you sleep with a prostitute and you take your own pictures as evidence. Well, he's not very bright. But the point is this, that you know, which one hasn't? I was reading this book that JFK used to have, prostitutes in the White House pool. They apparently at that time, I don't know what they have now, but at that time they had a, Mr. John F. Kennedy had a indoor pool under White House or whatever, maybe still there. But my point is this, that he had prostitute inside the White House. So Clinton interns inside the White House. But which one was exactly Puritan?